Today is Wednesday, July 24th, 2024, and you're listening to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. Thank you so much for joining me on the program for today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and whether you are tuned in via the radio 96.1 FM, or if you're listening via the World Wide Web, our social media platforms, such as our YouTube channel at ZIZ Online and via our Facebook page at ZIZ Broadcasting Corporation. Thank you so much for joining me on the program for today. When we open the phone lines later, you may call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916, which is our overseas line. Those are the numbers you call to lend your contribution to the discussion at hand. Today I want to have a conversation with you as a follow-up to what we discussed yesterday. I believe it was a very good conversation, and of course I'd want to give you, the listeners, the opportunity to call. With those of you who are not able to get in to call and make your contribution or make an additional contribution. Now, if you missed the program yesterday, we spoke on addressing the surge in gun violence, and government and security forces collaborate on suppression strategy. And we also touched briefly on the Ministry of Health hosting planning sessions for the new France General Hospital here in St. Kitts. But looking at government and security forces collaborating on suppression of, or on a suppression strategy as it relates to the rise or the surge in gun violence. We touched on this briefly, and many of you called and gave your contribution as to, what do you believe would bring this to a halt, or not necessarily bring it to a halt, but curb it significantly. Now, yesterday I had a conversation with some colleagues of mine as it relates to, the types of crime and the causes and how does one tackle the issue. And, many a times people would give their take as to what they believe is the answer, as to what they believe would address the issue adequately, as to what they believe would bring it to a complete halt, a complete stop, as to what they believe would fix the problem, and not fix it in the long term, but fix it in the short term. Now, there's so many causes to crime, and there's so many causes to people wanting to participate in violent crime at that. And I had the conversation yesterday that it is not a case where efforts are not being made from all across our community, from all across society. Governments past and present have rolled out a number of plans and programs and strategies. The church has also played and continue to play its role. It's the school, different community groups and organizations. They continue to roll out and bring about a number of different programs and initiatives that they feel would target at-risk youth and people who are seemingly heading down that path of wanting to engage in the life of crime. So it's not a case that these things are not happening. Perhaps one would say, okay, let's increase it. And so if you have a program going on where you are targeting at-risk youth and you can only facilitate 100 at a time, let's get more volunteers on board, let's get more experts on board, and let's take it up to 300 or 500. so that we are actively and proactively addressing the situation, addressing the matter, so that it does not spiral, it does not get out of control. But that is the reality that all across society people have, in their opinion, done their part in addressing crime and violence and gun violence. You would hear me say it many a times, and I would reference reports from across the region where Caribbean leaders and law enforcement agencies continue to meet in an attempt to tackle the gun violence and the illegal trafficking of firearms into the Caribbean region. And as I have made the point before and will continue to make, we don't manufacture guns, to my knowledge, here in St. Kitts and Nevis, or in the Caribbean for that matter, in CARICOM. Nevertheless, they are powerful guns that are seemingly more powerful than that of the security forces. And these things, of course, would alarm anybody. These things would naturally alarm anybody. And so these different groups and organizations continue to meet to come up with creative ways, data-driven, comprehensive data-driven recommendations and measures as to how they're going to address the surge in gun violence. Now, no amount of different programs or meetings or forums or press conferences can stop somebody in the moment from committing that act of crime. Whether it is violent crime, whether it is property crime, white collar crime, whether it is organized crime, consensual crime. Once that human being is within that moment, there's not much that you can do to really stop them in that moment. But I think what needs to be done now, and what the focus is now, is to stop them from getting to that point. Stop them from getting to the point of being in the moment. And let's see how we can help them now from being in the moment. We are taking your calls at 465-2555. The phone lines are open. Call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. Call and let's have a conversation. I call you on the air. Good morning.
Greetings.
How are you doing?
I am well, want you are well. How are you?
I am doing well myself.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Okay. We tune in and we hear what you just say concerning the crime and the security forces. You know, we never like that word. Forces. Force. We never love it. And it should be removed from the name of police. Because a lot of police officers are using that word to practice excesses and brutalities. And that is a red flag within the scheme of things. Now, we want to talk about an experience we had last night. The 3 police officers, 2 females and a male. I did some work earlier by my workplace and returned in the night. Somewhere between 8 and 9, I think. To check on things at my workplace. To make sure it is secured and how it's supposed to be for my morning work, which I am here right now on the work. And while I was within my work, just getting ready to leave, I see 2 females walk up to me and say, "What are you doing here?" And a male passed me straight and come straight into my workplace not saying a word to me, not good night, nothing. And I say, wait, what is going on here? Who are you be? They say, one of the females say, we are police officers. I said, that's the first thing you should do. Identify yourself. Identify yourself who you be. You could be a criminal. And I take you for a criminal and want to do your things. Because things is happening around here. That is not pretty. Think it is not the same. And I turned to the one who passed me straight and come in my workplace. I said, come out. And next time, don't do that. Identify yourself. It starts like you want to show me badness. And I make him know, say, me's a good man, I'm not afraid, no bad man. But they got a uniform, yes or not. So, we say that the chief of police, whoever you be, at this present time, make sure that you put your officers them in line. Because gonna turn from one another out here, but if they continue with the excesses and the brutalities and disrespect, gonna turn from them too. And we don't need it on here. So we just wanted to share that. I said to them that, not to them, to him. I said, I'm going to report you. He said, he don't care. So I make sure I report into the public first before I go to the chief of police. We don't want no force around here. But if I was a Chinese man or a white man, they wouldn't approach me that way. I'm not going to take no disrespect from no police. As a matter of fact, no one, whether you got a uniform yet or not, I don't care.
All right.
I'm not taking it. Give thanks to the time. Blessed love.
All right, caller. Thank you for your contribution to the program, and I'm sorry that you had that experience last night. You're listening to the Edge and ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. We'll take some more calls. Hello, caller. Good morning. You're on the air. Hello. Good morning. Caller, could you please turn off the radio? All right. Remember when you call to please turn off the radio, or else you're going to get feedback and I won't be able to hear you. The phone lines remain open at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. So have a caller? Okay.
Hello.
You have to turn off the radio, caller. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Cornelius.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm a concerned citizen. I reside in New York City. I speak to you before. It's appalling what's going on in my country of my birth. And I'm ashamed and disgusted about how a little island like that could be out of control with crime. Right now, I was planning to come home for a visit, and I live in America, and I'm afraid for my life that they might stick me up and kill me, think I got money. It's terrifying for us who's abroad to come home now because what's going on the island, and the whole island is out of control. 18 killing in 1 year. When I was growing up, you're lucky if you get one killing in a year. One. They're already up to 18 by gun violence.
Can I ask you a question?
It's a shame what's going on home, man. And I'm afraid for my family that I have there, especially my brother. And I tell you who my brother is. My brother is Jam Down. And I know everybody knows Jam Down. That's my brother.
Okay.
I'm his oldest brother. Dumpling is my sister. And I'm ashamed to come home, man. I'm scared for my life to come home. Because first of all, they see me, they know I come from America. They will try to hurt me. I remember when I was growing up, a police wear nightstick. Police never carry a gun. And the young people was law-abiding citizens. And it's pathetic what's going on in a little island like that. I don't get it, man. So I wish you could comment on that.
I wanted to ask you a question though, before you go. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here, Mr. Cornelius.
Oh, yes. I understand the comments that you were making in terms of, crime in a small island like St. Kitts and Nevis. And anybody for that matter would be concerned. So I totally understand you. But you mentioned that you live in New York City. Not asking you to disclose your personal business, but what is it like living in New York in terms of criminal activity there? The area that you live in, is it peaceful? Do you guys have crime?
For me, I live in New York approximately 50 years. There's crime rampant everywhere. But New York City have 9 million people. 9 million people live in New York City. St. Kitts and Nevis together is less than 60,000.
Yeah, and I'm not disputing that at all. I'm not disputing that. But what about the area where you reside?
You cannot make a comparison. It's apples and oranges. For a little island like that, 68 square mile, and Nevis is 50, it shouldn't be overrun by crime. It should not happen. Because some of the boroughs in New York City is bigger than St. Kitts. Brooklyn is bigger than St. Kitts. Queens is bigger than St. Kitts. Them 2 boroughs that make up New York City. You got 4 boroughs make up New York
so
City.
So do you feel I know how New York is composed, scholar. Do you feel fearful for your life where you reside in New York?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because when I was growing up, St. Kitts ain't had no gang members. We didn't have no gangs. We respect the police. We were scared of police. At night time, when we coming from Newtown, heading back to Harrison, we will never walk across by the police station. We always walk down the Bay Road or Fort Thomas Road by the Grand Court. Because if police see you, they might take you in as a truant, and they might give you lashes. They used to give you lashes on the station. If you're a juvenile and you commit a crime. But for the life of me, I'm ashamed now to tell people must go to St. Kitts how hospitable the people are and stuff like that, and you have crime is rampant in the country.
I would still encourage anybody to come to St. Kitts and Nevis to experience the good people. I encourage them the courteousness, the respect that we have for foreigners. Absolutely.
But with the crime out of control now, and we're up to 18 killing, this is July. In my home, you may have 1 murder a year. When I was growing up, we were scared of the law. Little kids were scared of the law. And you might know some of the guys that grew up. I grew up with Rock. I grew up with Heads Byron. I grew up with Banks. I grew up with Potters. I grew up in Irishtown, Westbourne Gun. That's where I grew up. And Salt Penelli. And we were terrified when the police said, "Hey, you go home." We never answer back. We run home. Now them young people, they don't have no respect for law and order. So I know crime is rampant in New York, but you cannot compare it, because New York have about 9 million people.
All right, Carter. Thank you so much for making your contribution. You've made that point already, and we've heard you loud and clear. Let's head back to the phone lines, and we have no callers on the line. The phone lines remain open at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. Call us and then your voice to the conversation at hand. It is 11:19, so I think we're due for a break, and then when we come back, we'll continue the conversation here on The Edge. When I come back as well, I'm going to get you some of the comments that have been left on the live stream. So let's take this break and we'll be right back.
Get ready to be amazed by 6 stunning Nivision beauties as they compete on the evening of Sunday, August 4th, 2024 at the Nevis Cultural Complex for the prestigious Bank of Nevis Limited Miss Culture Queen title during the Golden Jubilee celebration of the Caribbean's greatest summer live, Nevis Culturama Festival. Taking the stage will be contestant number 1, Miss Queen City Bar and Garden, Sidandre Fleming. Contestant number 2, Miss Carib Brewery SKN Limited, Janessa Keynes. Contestant number 3, Miss Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, Tikali Edwards. Contestant number 4, Miss S.L. Horsford Limited, Shadell Mitchell. Contestant number 5, Miss Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis, Vanessa Simon. And contestant number 6, Miss National Bank Group of Companies, Shaquania Jeffers. The Friends Band and a display of cultural performances will complement the evening's entertainment. Admission, children 12 years and under, $25. General admission, $50. At the gate, $60. Tickets can be purchased online at www.culturamanevis.com and at the Culturama box office in the Cotton Ginnery Mall. It's an evening you won't want to miss. The Bank of Nevis Limited Miss Culture Queen Pageant. It's on Sunday, August 4th at 8 p.m. at the Nevis Cultural Complex. The Culturama 50 Nevis Culturama Committee extends its heartfelt gratitude to the Bank of Nevis Limited, S.L. Horsford and Company Limited, Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, Development Bank of St. Kitts and Nevis, Carib Brewery SKN Limited, Queen City Bar and Garden, and the National Bank Group of Companies for their generous support. This will be one for the history books, so see you there.
The future is unknown. Protect your life, your family, and your valuables from unforeseen circumstances. Let National Caribbean Insurance give you the peace of mind that you so deserve. At NCI, we offer a suite of affordable insurance plans that can be tailored to ease your financial burden. We aim to deliver exceptional products to satisfy all your insurance needs. Whether life, health, motor, or property insurance, NCI has the right solution for you. Our friendly and knowledgeable sales professionals are ready and able to assist you. Let National Caribbean Insurance Company Limited help you to prepare for the unexpected. We serve, we protect, we satisfy. That's NCI.
Throughout the Caribbean, we boast a diverse abundance of flora and fauna that adorn our countries. This diversity follows through to our people, communities, and families.
As a doctor, I treat my patients with respect and understanding, without stigma or discrimination, no matter their sexual orientation, practice, or belief. Remember, everybody deserves a fair treatment.
As a mother and healthcare professional, I believe all Caribbean children should be safe, happy, and healthy. Let us create a safe, supportive environment for all Caribbean children to thrive.
Let us treat our LGBTQ+ family members with love and respect. Strong families create a stronger Caribbean. This message is brought to you by the Eastern Caribbean Alliance for Diversity and Equality, ECADE.
Attention St. Kitts and Nevis. This July we celebrate 50 years of cooperation, integration and development within our vibrant Caribbean community. CARICOM Thanksgiving service on Thursday, July 25th. Gather with us at the Sir Cecil Jacobs Auditorium, 6 p.m. as we give thanks and celebrate our vibrant Caribbean community through worship. CARICOM Colors Day on July 26. Let's unite and wear the vibrant colors of the Caribbean and our beloved island. The CARICOM Experience on Saturday, July 27th. Join us at the Independence Square at noon for an afternoon filled with art, culture, and the true essence of being CARICOM. CARICOM symbolizes our strength, shared heritage, and unwavering commitment to progress. Join us as St. Kitts and Nevis celebrates 50 incredible years of cooperation, integration, and development in a vibrant Caribbean community. CARICOM.
Wisdom, show me the right. Guide me safely through the night.
Welcome back to The Edge here on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. I'm your host, Devonne Cornelius, and thank you for joining me in the program for today. The phone lines remain open, and you can call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. Call and lend your voice to the conversation. We have a caller. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning. Hello? I'm not getting that one. Let's try another caller. You there? Hello, caller, you're on the air. No, I'm not hearing that one. Continue to call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. That is our overseas line. We are taking your calls at 11:26 here on The Edge on ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. We have a caller on the line. Okay, no, I'm not getting that caller. If you're just joining the conversation, we're having a discussion on crime and violence in terms of the surge in gun violence. Now, in light of the recent upsurge in gun violence, the Prime Minister, Dr. Terence True, and the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, Glenroy Blanchett, convened an emergency meeting with the High Command of the Police Force and Defence Force to address this pressing issue. The meeting held at police headquarters was pivotal in reviewing the homicides and formulating a robust strategy. Sorry? Phone lines are down? Okay. We have a bit of a challenge with the phone lines, so please continue to still try to call us, and we'll see how best we can accommodate the calls. 465-2555, 718-577-2916. So the meeting was held at the police headquarters, and the purpose of the meeting was to review the homicides and formulate a strategy to curb the trend. The Prime Minister expressed his concern over the surge in gun-related incidents, emphasizing the government's commitment to ensuring the safety and security of our citizens. He said, and I quote, "The protection of our citizens is paramount. We will make the necessary resources at our disposal available to the security forces to combat this threat and restore peace to our communities." End of quote. During the meeting, the High Command of the Police Force and the Defence Force presented a comprehensive analysis of the recent incidents, identifying patterns and potential underlying causes. We have a caller? Okay, no, we're not getting that caller in. So the discussion was focused on immediate and long-term measures, including increased patrols, strategic deployments, enhanced intelligence operations, and community engagement activities. And I absolutely love this one in terms of the community engagement activities. I've seen an increased presence from the police in terms of engaging with members of the community. I think recently, sometime back, they had like a gift basket distribution to elderly people in the community. For me, I think that really means a lot, and you don't know how impactful something like that would be. And of course, not just with the elderly, but meeting with at-risk youth and meeting with younger people and having meaningful engagement initiatives and activities. The Prime Minister reaffirmed the government's dedication to a swift and decisive response to gun violence. The meeting concluded with a commitment to ongoing assessments and adjustments to the strategy to ensure its effectiveness, and the government and security forces say that they will continue to work tirelessly to create a safer environment for all citizens. Further updates on the implemented measures and their outcomes will be communicated to the public in due course. This is according to the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service. You're listening to The Edge and ZIZ Radio 96.1 FM. It's 11:30. The phone lines remain open. Please continue to call us at 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. We have some challenges with the phone lines, so we are trying to get that sorted out. Let me apologize for that inconvenience that being caused there. But please, if you're trying to get in, continue to call and your call may come through. I'm seeing that the phone is ringing, but we're having some difficulty hearing you on the other end. We'll, of course, wrapping up the program early to make way for the midday newscast very shortly. We should be getting back to the full hour, but nevertheless, having a conversation with you on this matter. Now, as I mentioned earlier, addressing crime and violence in the region has long been a task that Caribbean governments and law enforcement agencies continue to grapple with. And I made the point earlier that in the moment when a man has a gun in his hand, or a person has a gun in his hand, and he's standing before that individual, and when I say in that moment, I'm talking about less than 3 minutes, let's say. There's not much you could do to stop them. We have a caller on the line. Let's head back to the phone lines. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Cornelius.
Good morning.
Yes. A blessed day to all. Now, the last caller, not to be comparing, but the last caller was speaking about the crime situation in the U.S. Vis-a-vis what is here. I lived in New York City for quite a few years, and for decades, before I came, in fact, so for decades it had a very bad reputation with respect to crime. But then afterwards there was a big cleanup right up to COVID, and it was considered one of the safest large cities in the United States. Since COVID, things have deteriorated, and you've had a lot of crime. Right now you have to have the police patrolling the subways, on the streets. I was just there up to, a few months ago. You go into some of the, like the CVS pharmacy, you see everything locked down. Once ago, you could just take it off the shelf and take it to the cashier. But now it's on the lock and key, you have to call someone.
Wow.
So, hello?
I said, wow, that's
Yes, if you're walking in the street, you have to be careful. You have to just keep focused. Try not to speak to, show that you're purposeful. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, things can happen to you. So there's no question about it. It has but it's a great city. But the police, the patrolling, and what have you. Now, I just want to jump to what you said earlier in the program, and you were speaking of the various things that have been done and one is trying to do to solve the problem about church. Well, I don't know if you mentioned church, but that is another big issue there, and different organizations trying to play a role. And nothing is happening as far as you're thinking. And I should just say to the caller who spoke before that the focus is really on the gun violence, particularly among younger people.
Yes.
It's not that you're going to walk in St. Kitts, and it should not deter anybody from coming here, because if you walk in St. Kitts, the place has a freeness about it. It's a very different type of atmosphere to what is in the United States. But I would say this, for all the things that you said, something that comes up all the time that has not been addressed, something that has not been addressed, is conviction for capital crime. That is when it's a serious problem, it can be easily identified and so on. And execution. I'm sorry to say this. You will not do it haphazardly. But unless you can enforce it that way, one or two, because when people compare now with yesteryear, you did have executions, and then you wouldn't have crime for a long time, and they were tended to be older people. But these young people feel they can get away. The value of life, they don't value life. And you might have to set one or two examples, and it will straighten them up. Sounds bad, sounds drastic, but unless you put that into the mix at this rate, we're just talking around the clock. Thank you.
Before you go, caller, I wanted to ask you a question before you go. Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, yes. So I was looking at some of the different crimes that happen in the U.S., right? In particular, the New York area, because you mentioned that you lived there for some time.
Yes.
And I read that you have different crimes like hate crimes, stalking, hate crimes, sexual assault, home invasions. Was that the case? That is what you heard about or saw, well, not saw, but heard about when you lived in New York?
Well, I will tell you this. The Americans have a very ingenious or disingenuous, however the word is, way of crafting things. So they have categorized them in all kind of things. Well, we don't categorize them that way. If you kill somebody, you kill somebody, right? Yes. But you do something that they add this extra thing. It's a hate crime. If you do it another way, you're killing. And if it's deliberate killing, sometimes it's a case of racism, and they're clever on how they do this. But you have been having, in recent times, all of these different things. Yes. Yes. All
right, Carla. Thank you so much for your contribution to the program. The phone lines remain open and we take your calls. Let's take this call. Hello, you're on the air. Good morning.
Mr. Cornelius.
Yes, good morning.
It's me calling back from New York. The lady called and just criticized what I said, right? And somebody is, I'm not putting my country down. I'm just talking for what's going on in my country. I love my birthplace, and I'm proud to be a Kittian. I don't have a problem with that. Never have and never will. But the point is this. Me as a person, in New York, I'm very careful. Riding the subway and going where I'm supposed to go, and something bad could happen to me too. I'm not talking like that. But I'm saying, for when I grew up in St. Kitts, and law and order was the rule of the day. Execution don't stop crime, because in New York and America, they execute people all the time, and crime is still rampant. You have to have deterrence for the young people. Put them in the Boy Scouts. When I grew up, we had the Boy Scouts, the 4-H, and we had other activities you could do after school. For 3 months, you don't have no schooling. Now, you got to take this under control. In America, when I'm home, my sister, my little nephews and nieces be looking at New York, and they ask me, Uncle, you been here, Uncle, you been here, Uncle, you been here. They see crime on the TV. And a lot of those islands patronize America. They want to be like gang leaders. They want to be gang. They want to wear bling-bling like the rappers and stuff like that. All that influence affecting the island. So what I'm saying to you, those things should be under control because the island is so small.
How would you what do you suggest that we do to control them?
What I suggest, from the time the young people are young in school, you try to get them in the 4-H, become Boy Scouts, occupy their time after school. When I was growing up, television wasn't rampant. Only maybe one person in the whole area had a TV. When we want to hear cricket and stuff like that in St. Kitts. But now, in your house, you got 5 TV, one in every room. Same way in New York, one in the bathroom, one in the kitchen, one in the bedroom. But I'm saying, I'm not criticizing my country. I love my country. My country gave me what I got. I was educated in boys' school, senior school, and Irish school. And I got a damn good education. The British educate me well. Because people in America be saying to me, hey, Griffin, did you ever go to college? Why are you so intelligent? St. Kitts gave that to me.
All right.
So don't let what a lady tell you I'm putting my country down. Never. I will stand up and hit my chest and proud to be a Kittian. So what she telling you, that's nonsense. I'm proud of my country.
All right,
so
thank you so much.
I'm just observing what's going on.
Yes, thank you so much for your contribution to the program. The phone lines remain open and we take your calls. 465-2555 or 718-577-2916. It's 11:39. We will take as many calls as we possibly can until we close out the program for the midday news. We have callers on the line? No? Let's take this call. Hello, you're on the air. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Cornelius.
Yes, go ahead.
I have a question to ask you, sir.
Sure.
Yeah. Concerning the crime and so on and so forth. What really wrong with the fear of God, the fear of the Creator? Isn't that and shouldn't that be a deterrent within itself?
Wait, sorry, I'm not sure if I understand the question.
Shouldn't the fear of God, where is the fear of God? And because the absence of the fear of the Most High, the desire to fear Him to the point where His laws, the commandments become important to you. But really and truly, the problem is the man may fear the Most High, and you all don't regard the laws, statutes, and commandments. Mr. Cornelius, it is as if the constitution of the country, the constitution of St. Kitts and Nevis. If you call yourself to be a citizen of the country, but you don't adhere to, you don't acknowledge, you don't care about the laws of the country, I really don't think you love the country or you love yourself as much as you think. I tantamount to the same thing. For example, I really believe a lot of the problem have a lot to do with lack of breast milk, you know. The children, them are like generations, I don't know, it's like the children them don't get enough breast milk or natural God-given nutrients. Do you think it should be a crime for a woman not to give her child breast milk because of what you see happening right now? Scientists, I think you all could correlate some kind of lack of deficiency, lack of empathy, lack of just lack of fear of God is the problem. That's all I really want to say. If the children in your breast milk, son, you're damaging the place, the world over.
All right.
And I'm not saying it to be humorous. I'm very, very serious about it.
All right, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution to the program. We have more callers. Hello, caller, on the air.
Yes, good morning, Devonne.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, what is clear, I think what everybody can agree on, is that what we have tried so far has not worked. Or rather, not that what we've tried haven't worked, but because if we didn't do what we've been doing, the situation may have been much worse. But the fact is, we are on an unacceptable trajectory, right? I mean, if we keep this trajectory, we could be looking at nearly 40 in a year. That's totally unacceptable. So and people, I think, realize this, and so are willing to try even the most drastic, what I will call drastic, the executions. It may come to that, right? Because even if it's one life, one person that figure out, or if I do this, I might get caught and be executed. Even if it's one life that's saved, at least it would work. Okay, I agree overall that executions in themselves don't really solve the issue, can't really solve the issue. And I would not like the Federation to be the first in the region, because I think it's on the books for a lot of other places in the region, but it's not applied. And I'm not sure I want our Federation to be known as the one that had to resort to applying it. So what I'm saying is, don't rule it out, okay? Keep it as a last resort. And some of the things that can be tried in between that. You notice how quickly, how swift they had after the assassination attempt in the States. How swift they had the hearings, the investigative hearings, and the head of the Secret Service resigned, right? That, I think, is what's lacking here as well, okay? The fact is, government, and we always do this, we always say, well, government is not responsible, the government didn't put guns in people's hands, etc. But the government is responsible for holding us, keeping us safe. That security is one of their main functions. And if the results show that is not happening, we're not being kept safe, things are still happening, then there must be accountability. That, I think, is what's lacking. Somebody's head must roll. Sorry to use that in the circumstances, but somebody must be held accountable. And there's not that culture of accountability here where somebody says, well, I was in charge of something, it's not working, so I resign, or I know I will be fired. It just doesn't happen here. Give somebody else the responsibility of doing it. If the same thing happens again, you have to be accountable.
Yeah, right.
And so I would like to see that done here, sending a clear message to everybody that something different is going to be done. And two, people are going to be held, the people responsible, which of course ultimately is the perpetrators of these things. They must be caught. If they're not caught, if the solutions that are being tried are not working, then you have to do something else. You have to change people. You have to bring other solutions.
All right.
But we can't keep on just doing the same thing and getting this kind of result.
All right, Carter. Thank you so much. Let me say quickly, for those of you who are listening via the live streams, they may end anytime soon, but I'm going to continue the program closer to noon because it's via radio, and the people have been promised an hour talk show, and that is what I believe that they should get. So for those of you who are listening via the live stream, let me apologize. The live stream may end anytime soon. We have to end to make provision for the midday newscast. But I wanted to make a contribution with regards to a comment the previous caller made, and then two other callers made comment, and he spoke about the fear of God and people having the fear for God. Now the truth is, right, there are people who do not believe in God, and some who do not believe in a higher calling, and so they are more likely to be wayward, lawless, and have absolutely no regard for life. And there are people who believe in God, who preach the word of God from the mountaintops, and they're demons, they're devils, they're domestic terrorists. So while I understand your point about having the fear for God, and I'm not disputing that in any way, shape or form, there are people who believe in God, and they're demons. They're perhaps some of the people who are responsible for some of the crime here in our country. Now, I will never, ever encourage anybody not to come to St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is not an attempt by me to justify the murders that we have had here over the years. Absolutely not. Because I, for one, understand how it feels when it hits home. So for the avoidance of doubt and for the record, I am not attempting to do so. What I will not do is go out there and encourage anybody not to come to St. Kitts and Nevis, to experience St. Kitts and Nevis for themselves. St. Kitts and Nevis is not like other countries and other parts of the world where you can't leave